All right. Just again, everything worked sufficiently, but now we're in a new world. Security, to a certain degree, or carries a certain degree of illusion. All security pretty much is overcomable if you have enough money, enough people, enough whatever it takes. So that first line of security could be improved based upon the fact that it pretty much was compromised. You could do other things. You could. There were plenty of people there to do something different. Again, you don't need to do something different because you never did. So, but that illusion is now removed. Now, this doesn't only affect Secret Service; it affects every secure perimeter in the world. He's not the fastest guy. He looked pretty fast. I think it was the camera, how many frames per second, and that type of thing. I think that's part of it. I'm not sure, but I think the camera system made him look faster than he was. Because he looks like the what is that guy's called? Okay, what's that? I forget what the guy's name was. He's a real fast superhero. The Flash. Yeah, he looked like the Flash. I think it was the camera system. You might want to look at that. I think what happened is it speeds it up because of maybe frames per second or something like that. It's like a 1922 silent movie or something, because the speeds were off on that sometimes. So there's several things you can do. Again, you could put the linebacker team up, but then they would have to maintain posts. It requires additional people. Not always feasible. Fence, not always feasible. You could introduce one more vehicle to your repertoire, and that's your fence vehicle, where it carries a certain number of panels that you deem would be sufficient for most situations. So design considerations, finding the fatal funnel, creating the fatal funnel. So creating that choke point. So you get, I know it's a consideration, and things, venues don't always lend themselves to anything let be that much security. So again, copycat being what it is, the exposure going across the globe. I mean, you actually, the FBI, and I guess Secret Service also to a certain degree, but the FBI has to include now, fitness training has actually been an indicator of possible plan for a terrorist act, but now more so. Again, that guy wasn't the fastest guy in the world. He may have trained for it. I don't know. Did he start running more? Did he run at all, I guess? So again, those things have to be looked at. Copycat is further reaching probably in this situation than initially you would think. Because his neighbor said he seemed somewhat stable. Obviously, he wasn't. And again, that's my point of view that I've spoken to people for years. Somebody looks unstable. You watch them for 30, 40 years, and there's nothing wrong with them. And nothing ever happens. But yet the stable person, obviously there's probably something there to show that we missed. There has to be something. And maybe there isn't. I don't know. But I would think that there would be. Yeah, we got people end up training to be the fastest man on earth just so they can beat the security line. And again, your choke point was at your next security checkpoint, but because there were a lot more people behind that first line, in certain instances, we want that first line to be secure. We want, you don't need an 8-foot fence, but something at least 6 foot, probably 6.5 feet is probably perfect. Again, if you have a vehicle, you can design because you have money and companies that'll build it for you or stuff off the shelf that you could find. Uh, you figure the packing list in that vehicle, how much cargo space you have, and how to pack it so you get maximum coverage out of whatever large SUV or whatever you're going. Maybe use a box truck. I don't know. But you have to do something. I don't even know if he trained with the weapons at all. Did he just buy them off the shelf? He didn't seem like it hit anything. Well, actually, hit one of the officers. I did take that back. Yeah, the risk of increasing security is every news outlet. Oh, well, the Secret Service has this now. Why didn't they have it before? Again, they're just trying to run you into the ground. That's a deep state thing. That's what they've done to my life. That's what they do to my life. Red herrings are their middle name. And again, the other part is, was there some indicator that was missed by some entity? And was he hidden? That's the other one. Question is whether foreign spies radicalize people and hide them from law enforcement. Foreign spy organizations. They're more than just bots. And again, was it a bot? That radicalized them, or a series of bots. AI running bots. So, although the system worked, I would surely. Yeah, the best system is actually running 2 mags and an X-ray. Right. Or 2 mags and 2 X-rays. One at the front, and then one in front of the venue that you're actually in. The location you're in. The X-ray can be time consuming, but so that was security I developed in the 90s, and that was pre 9/11. So it was difficult to get that much equipment in one courthouse. We were able to do, and I do credit Donovan, Chief Donovan, and his connections that helped get all that and keep all that. A lot of times when you get something, they want you to turn the other one back in. We would keep it because we told them we use it for secondary line of security. So if you wanted to get in a courtroom on a high threat trial at our courthouse, I can't remember. I think I got it instituted at Greenbelt too. I can't remember. You have to actually go through the front screening and then the courtroom screening, and there'll be like 2 off-duty cops, or on a contract, or a retired cop on that, usually on that second line of security. So they were both packing. So you had 2 pistolas and an X-ray and a magnetometer you had to get through to get into the courtroom. And that came about because witnesses were being killed and things like that. Things not just that, bub. We're trying to kill Meemaw. Judge Meemaw. So again, it's a lot of stuff to be dragging around. So I don't know, the plausibility of any of it. That's what you all have to decide. So again, you could put a gate. You could not have a gate. You could put additional officers on post. Right? Like a football defense. Actually, and you actually had enough officers to do it, but but again, you don't do it because you didn't need to do it, and that's simply no matter if somebody faults you or doesn't fault you, if that comes up, you just didn't need to do it, so you don't do it. And it didn't seem like anybody would try that. But they have lightweight fencing. The key is you probably have to put the weight at the bottom. You just get some aesthetically pleasing sandbags or something, and lay that over that edge. But again, the fact is there are people out there being radicalized right now by foreign spies. And I guarantee you that's going to be part of it. All they have to do is keep putting that in front of their face while they radicalize them. Then they think they want to try it. Again, it could even be a Democratic Party operative in the United States being an enemy domestic. They're actually enemy domestics, people that do that stuff. But they have contacts in law enforcement. They've had a career, or they know somebody there. They worked for CIA before, and nobody does anything about their corruption because it's quote unquote politics. To try to get the other president assassinated is essentially what they're doing. But they know Brennan or Brennan's buddies. No, I was looking at Trump. I'm like, Trump doesn't know for sure what it is because he played it off, and then he explained it. He said, I thought it was some trays dropping or something, possibly shots, but I thought it was trays dropping. And what happened is explains how Satan works. So in Trump's life, he's been around kitchens. He ran some buildings, restaurants, different things. So he's heard it before. That sounds in his mind, in his memory. Satan made sure he connected that with that. Again, the guy didn't get through. So he got some rounds off. That's, I guess, a big deal. Right. So, but again, the chances that happen is slim to none. Generally, but again, now it's not slim to none. Again, there's probably a formula. There's probably actually a formula. Maybe AI could come up with it. Maybe ask AI. But like an event like that and the things that happen, what are the chances now? What were the chances before, like the probabilities of something like that happen versus the probabilities now? It'll probably jump way up. AI Larry has already calculated that. Yeah, it's Larry AI. It's all Hashem anyway. Well, I finally got in to this one app. So again, cursing them off has advantages. I couldn't get into this app to take when I do this live thing, I can take it and put it through this app theoretically. Things say it works and it doesn't work. Apparently there's AI in there that takes the ahs out, the spaces out automatically. It's very tedious and I just don't feel like doing it. I've done it before, but I'm like, so this one supposedly automatically does it. But I couldn't start my account up. It wouldn't let me with my Gmail, which it should have let me. But I found if I use and again, I didn't have the option. I didn't even have the option to use my phone all that time period. Because I remember trying to start up an account and it only gave me Facebook and Gmail, and neither one would work. And I guess TikTok or something. But this time it said phone. So I did it with my phone and boom, it worked. So I have my new light out here. I got to drill the adapter. So in the Secret Service, they have to be a little bit like CIA, creating one-off things. Either manufacturing themselves or someone else manufactures it. And they design it. So that fencing system, either off the shelf or redesign or design something. You know, lightweight. The only problem with lightweight is it can be more easily knocked over. But again, you have to come up with, if you come up with the right type of design, then the lightweight won't be as detrimental. Right. And I think your concern isn't people coming against the back side of it. So the front side, you probably don't even have to put much, if any, type of thing to hold it up, just a little piece. But on the back side, you might actually want to put like a plate across the back, and then wait, you know, maybe sandbag weighted. I'm not sure what would be the best course there. And you probably have some stuff. Again, ICE has some stuff. But 8 foot would not be necessary. You want about 6.5 foot. So that'll give you, again, an obstacle gives you time to react. And that's what you needed there. And people going to those events. Erica, if Erica's ever going to go to one of those events, she wants to see something like that. It's weird because I was talking about Erica Kirk. Yeah, I was speaking around the whole thing. I even used the word assassination yesterday, and I usually don't use it very much. Right. I think it was yesterday. Right. I don't know what it is. Now she's not going to come here, right? It says she has to go. It says Erica Kirk, part of her quote-unquote journey, she needs to go to Butler County. She has a lot of support here. I think that's what it is. And some of these people have money. So if they up her, it may carry over and improve her life. That's what, and actually Charlie Kirk appeared here as a spirit. So he's not in hell like he deserves. Right. No, like I told you, a lot of people, everybody has opinions on who goes to hell, but most people won't. It's just that if you look at the new, it's actually in the New Testament and it's in the Old Testament. There's forgiveness in the Old Testament that you can't find because the teachers don't teach it. Again, forgiveness. Again, Yeshua ben David was a Jew. He explained a lot of concepts. They're Kabbalistic. They're Jewish magic. And his people also, because he wasn't. His stuff's missing. Again, that's what makes people say he didn't exist. But if you know how the Roman emperors were, and then the diaspora, you know what happened. And again, when I woke up, the Q was Fahrenheit 451. When I was studying the scriptures, it just kept coming up, which is where they burned the books. You had Nero, you had Caligula. And I'm sure the emperor that eventually accepted Christianity, he probably made a rule that it's his Christianity or you get killed. Right. That's pretty much what I believe happened. All right. I'm glad I finished this project. It was weird. All of a sudden, it was like, Hashem was like, oh, it has to go up tonight. It's like a nautical theme. Like the top of a lighthouse kind of thing, the old lighthouses. And that's why I went with the water glass, because they kind of have that kind of, theirs is more like the jar glass, I guess. But similar. I mean, there's not much you can do. I mean, you could put in a third line. Actually, that wouldn't have worked because he was in the closet. Now, the part about the closet is funky because there's somebody describing it. So that person didn't have, if the person saw that happening and it took a period of time to happen, that person didn't sound the alarm, and they obviously didn't know to. They may have thought it was a Secret Service person. I just don't know where that one comes from, where the woman says he was in this closet assembling a rifle. Right. So again, were the roving patrols out? Did you deem it necessary? Maybe you didn't deem it necessary. That's not necessarily wrong if you did need it before. I don't. Maybe he was that fast. It looks like he could have been. Anybody could be that fast. Just like Audie Murphy, I guess he was a little nobody looking guy. In the movies, they make him out to be, the star look. But apparently he was a short, like young looking guy. How old did you say you were? Let me see some ID. So everything looked well based upon the plan. The plan worked, and that's the bottom line. But again, once the plan works and people see how it worked, but what maybe a flaw in the plan was at that point, never was before. And most, we don't usually line officers up like a linebacker team, especially at a civilian event like that. And then the other thing is, I don't know who came out first. Oh, I have to go over this again. I posted years ago. I don't know if anybody saw it. And if you're shadow banning, make sure the Secret Service gets this. In like 2016 or 17, I spoke about body bunkers. It's like you're shielding Trump with your body, and you're like hugging him. In that particular scenario, with everything that you have available right off stage, should have been a good-sized body bunker where you turn around the other way. A certain number of them, 2, whatever it is. You get your biggest guy, your biggest dummy. You're all pretty tall. I'm a short guy. I'm like 5'7". But you're all, people around Trump obviously need to be taller, so they cover him. Right? And they're like, at least, 6 something. So you can get a pretty big body bunker and carry it. Right? So behind stage, the person that came out, so you should probably have a body bunker on each side of that stage, sizable one. Again, they could be very lightweight today with the technology compared to what they used to weigh. And then a rifle guy. So your rifle guy, your rifle operator, and a body bunker should be off stage at this stage of the game. And well, because again, I wouldn't say it's an absolute illusion, but part of the appearance of security is very important. They've removed a certain level of appearance of security last night. That happened. And that affects everybody around the globe. So when it takes, again, I know there was armed officers everywhere. You had about 5 people surrounding Trump or whatever the number was. So again, it worked, but if they see something, then they'll think something possibly. So if it takes, again, there may have been a rifle guy on the other side of the room. I don't know. But if the person pops out from behind real quick, then that was good. Trump stayed down. I mean, everything worked the way again, you plan for security the same way you do an operation order, and then you have what's called contingency plans. And then you train contingency plans before, in training, so that when you go into combat, you not only have the contingency plans that are in your plan, you have the contingency plans that you've trained. Again, this is how people become experts and get into Delta Force and everything else, theoretically. I know they all have sex together. I don't know. It's the way it seems to be these days. And then you get into Delta Force, like the Hillary Clinton security team. That's the people that are attacking me. People at the quality of that sexualized Hillary Clinton, because it involves, see, it's the same thing. Because it involves Hillary Clinton, everybody hushes it up. Right? And maybe they're a buddy. But in reality, those people may be out here as whatever attacking me. And they never change that crazy mind they got. Again, don't go after me. Don't cancel my X accounts because it gets crazy. You're probably already planning it when it went crazy in DHS. Now, I don't know if they're part of it. I can't tell you that. That's your part to investigate. Again, you should investigate. I was definitely hacked, couldn't see anything, wrote an email. Again, CIA is ultimately responsible because they can see it. And they may have actually done it. So body bunkers, try to get body bunkers constructed where you could actually reverse what you're doing or additionally do it. You can have the people that traditionally, hug the president. And then you have another person that carries, that body bunker. I brought that up about 10 years ago. I was seeing something, I think, when I was having those visions and seeing it. I could see somebody on the street walking up while you're exiting a building. That was once. That may be coming up now. Make sure when you leave the building to the vehicle is always a risky moment. And then I don't know what the other ones were. I have to go through it, see if I can remember the others. I think sniper scenario, I think, was one. Well, ideally, to deter visually, having the rifleman come out maybe in half the time. Again, I would put them off stage. And of course, now, like Erica Kirk, if she's walking to do a presentation with the president or something, if she sees, and again, I'm not picking on her, but obviously she was shaking. There's other people that don't show it. They're shaking. Again, there's PTSD off of things like that. So at differing levels. Again, PTSD doesn't always completely get in the way, but you want people to be comforted. So if she's walking up on stage, she's not going to care. She's actually going to be happy if you have a body bunker guy suited up and you have a rifle guy suited up on each side of the stage. So that would give you 4 people, 2 with defensive bunkers, and maybe an offensive bunker if it gets down to it. And then your riflemen, 2 riflemen or riflewomen, whatever it is. And then you have that pop out much faster, and then they go, well, whoa, they got it. Nothing we can do. Because even though they can't get away with it, their mind starts moving in that direction. Look at that. Look how long it took them to get out there. Look at this. Look at that. Look at them run past them. They ain't nobody. Right. So then you have to react to that, or try to react to it. So you can build up that deterrence. That's what you want. You want deterrence. You want to be Barney Fife. You don't have to even put your bullet in your weapon. It's that safe. Right. So again, that's all there is to that. It's just visually, doing something visually. Again, you could even, I don't know if you want to advertise it, but again, the idea that you have somebody backstage, you could even tell them, like, this is one of the security enhancements. We decided that, this was a real time event. It worked, but we are constantly moving forward. Again, that's something the director can explain or somebody can explain to the media. So that's actually more of an idea how to visually counter what somebody's mind might be thinking off of what they saw yesterday. You could actually, once you come up with your plan and say these were things we didn't need in the past, but we live in a radicalized world. And we need to, our security system worked, but we decided that we will move forward and increase security based upon what we observed during that event. Yeah, you could even take like a print out Erica Kirk and put it on top of put it in the front of the body bunker. Erica Kirk smiling at them. So again, it's funny because she kept coming up. So she's still targeted. Okay, so yeah, that's another point. This is a metaphysical point. You had a lot of hated people in one spot. She's still hated for some reason. Maybe it's because I might lose my monitor here. Yeah, there it is. Let's see if I'll straighten it out with this. Well, it's because, TPUSA, and I said they were a little bit too far out. I don't think they're that way as much anymore. But it did create enemies. There's some sort of glitch in my computer, and I have to write the manufacturer. There needs to be some sort of update. You may even have it for the BIOS. Well, the resolution doesn't return to normal after it goes to sleep, or the screen doesn't. And then if I plug it into my mini monitor, it restores. So there's some sort of, I guess it could be in the television monitor, but I'm thinking it's a combination. Computer should counter for it. It's a mini PC. I got the cheapest one I could get with, 4 years or 5 years worth of valid use. It's one of the early ones designed for AI. They're still starting that up. But it wasn't expensive at all. I could have doubled the price easily. And just mini PCs are cheaper. But I don't know if you know it, but your mini PC you could actually take into your vehicle and operate in your vehicle. You just got to get a small monitor for it. Like I have a monitor here that's 15.6. It's a little 4K touch monitor. And it's a lot cheaper, and you don't even need 4K. 2K would be sufficient. It's actually way cheaper than like a Surface. Although Surfaces are getting cheaper, and they have more use for it. The mini PC is still a good option. And the Surface uses now the ARM computers, which there are limitations on the ARM processors. And even though this is a mobile processor in a little box, it does pretty good. Trying to figure out how to fix my resolution completely. Maybe it's turning this off. I'm going to this computer over here, this monitor. Well, that's weird how it does that. I don't know why. It's like splitting the screen almost. I'm trying to do a click of this one. So yeah, years ago I suggested, because you had big guys around Trump, or you could even find bigger guys. Again, this wouldn't be that team. I guess yeah, they would be part of that team. Well, my point was, if you needed to exit the building with the president, like I'm sure you had a place that you take him in, a secure spot or something. You should even moving to the vehicle after that event. Right? It'd be a good idea to use body bunkers. I mean, you stick two of those together, and you got a pretty good barricade to keep them safe. And it allows officers. The movement would be more fluid. It allows officers to kind of fan out a little bit more. For Trump, you need a pretty big body bunker, but it still works. And I imagine you could probably, you could probably find somebody to build one that's pretty darn light compared to what we normally would use. Well, if you really think about it, it's pretty stupid. And we use my flesh. I mean, I know it's your concept, but if you could do it a little bit better, it'd be better. So that's what I would do. Right off whatever private, a room, whatever it is, but like right there. I don't believe those guys look like they moved from somewhere. And I know that's how it works sometimes. So if you have it in a door that leads right there, and honestly, I think your best bet is to visibly show those type of people. Again, we did it in Times Square. Those we put these National Guard and submachine gun NYPD everywhere, and it tends to work. Again, that's that visual security to present. In other words, I bring this up all the time. You don't want to hide things all the time. You want people to know that if you get arrested for that particular crime, you're looking at 10 to 20 years. They don't even fathom it until it happens. So you want people to, we don't want to show them our security because, again, you do want to show them that level of security. So again, there's nothing wrong with somebody walking to see the president, and talk with the president on stage somewhere, and they see, a body bunker and a rifleman or a riflewoman. Rifle person. Again, restoring that appearance of security that kind of was partially removed last night, and that happens. It's part of security. And again, it's the way the director would approach it is in this day and age, we need to up the ante, and that's obvious. This is a very radicalized, aggressive culture that has not existed before. So also cameras. I mean, I know it seems like redundant, but I would have preferred your own cameras there. I mean, we're speaking about, again, I spoke about camera jump kits. Maybe you don't think you need it. But if you had your own color, high-speed camera there, you'd have got a better image. If there's also AI in those, even something you bought, something off the shelf may have triggered, you may have been able to program it, drop the sensitivity down, and tell it to only activate on something, I guess, I don't know if that's in the regular cameras. Person, it would just do person. So you could use AI to program that camera to identify people moving at a high rate of speed. Right. And you could have a couple in that hallway. Again, copycat being what it is. But again, once people see the increased security, then they, back down usually. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.